Welcome to ACT Fitness Radio, the podcast teaching you to aspire, conquer, and transform your body and mind. Here's your host, Adam Castro.
What's up, everybody? My name is Adam Castro, and I am here with Jaylene.
Hey!
And you are listening to ACT Fitness Radio, and we do apologize for taking a week off.
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, I was away on a not vacation. Mm-hmm. It was not a vacation. I just want to clarify that because I was away at a Christian camp. Helping out some kids. I was leading worship. For those of you who don't know, I like to play music.
Absolutely.
I grew up playing in worship teams and playing different instruments. In fact, a lot of the instruments that I learned how to play was because I was helping out in a worship team, and they didn't have that specific instrument, so I had to learn how to do it.
He's very talented, ladies and gents.
So I was away for a week helping out with that in Idlewild Pines.
What'd you call me?
What'd you call me? And I believe that's somewhere near Riverside.
Somewhere over the rainbow. Just.
I was not the one driving, so I wasn't paying attention.
Thank God.
Looks a little bit like Big Bear, though. It's in elevation, but it's somewhere between like Riverside and Indio, somewhere in that direction.
All right.
I should probably pay attention for next year because I'll probably be driving up next year. But I am away 1 week. I actually only get 1 week off.
1 week out of the year.
1 week out of the year. I've only ever taken 1 week off in the last 3 years.
Except for when we celebrate our Annie.
Yes.
But even then, it's not a week. It's like days.
It's like a weekend.
Yeah, weekend.
Weekend, not
End.
a week. But the only time I've ever taken time off of personal training in the last 3 years has been for this camp. So
that is true.
So it's always fun because I don't want time off of training. I don't like time off from training.
He's very weird, you guys.
Because it's like the most fun I get to have is seeing my ACT Fitness family.
Amen.
And so I hope for you guys listening, you guys have known because I always say it when I come back from that week. I miss you and I definitely miss training with you guys and being a part of your journey. And I always feel like the week off is always just a bump in the path there for my clients' progress.
And for anyone who's self-employed, you know that it's just not easy to take time away.
Yeah, especially when you've gotten yourself into a little bit of a routine. And that's always been the biggest challenge for me is just when I set a routine for myself and then I come out of it, I have to set a new routine for myself. And then, and I'm definitely someone who likes routine.
Indeed.
I love doing the same thing every single day, and this one, punching Jaylene in the shoulder here, is the reason why I break my routine, because she likes to be adventurous.
I'm definitely adventurous, yes.
She's the reason why we have our rock climbing memberships, and I have different coffee other than Starbucks and Coffee Bean.
I do like to try other coffees. There are so many different things to try in the world, so yeah.
Other than Starbucks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But anyways, I did want to take this opportunity, you guys, for ACT Fitness Radio Wednesday to talk about consistency. While I was away for the week, not only was I trying to encourage my clients to stay consistent, especially with Jaylene training a lot of my clients while I was gone, but I also had to fight for consistency. I was at a camp that did not have a gym. I did not have access to gym equipment.
Yep.
And I really didn't have a lot of time. This was a non-vacation trip. I was working. I was at a computer a lot. I was having to move from one location to another, running back and forth, talking to people, being in meetings, and it was a lot of stress, not a lot of relaxation. In fact, if I had the chance to, I would take a nap instead of work out.
Yeah.
Because it was just that exhausting,
draining. Yeah.
I didn't get to choose the food that I was eating. This was a camp that had its own food schedule, and so I really was limited on the control that I had. in my circumstances. So I had to work with what I had. I had to work with what I got. And I did take resistance bands. And so I did get at least 2 workouts in where I was using resistance bands. I did treat those as well as high intensity workouts. So we've talked about using resistance bands for off days.
Yeah.
And we love doing that. In fact,
Absolutely.
if we have 15 minutes, we would use bands to get a quick workout.
Yeah.
And some of your favorite exercises are with bands, right? What are some that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to do chest flies with the bands. You can just get a really good squeeze from your chest doing that. I also really enjoy doing biceps and triceps with the bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a pump, a really cool pump using resistance bands that you just don't get with weights.
Yeah, it's a very different pump. Absolutely. Yeah, I really, really like that. And I also really like doing some leg workouts. I'm guilty of enjoying donkey kicks.
Yeah.
With the bands.
Yeah. And we actually had just found a new exercise for the hamstrings with the bands that I was just kind of messing around and playing with. And it's actually really effective in helping you to engage the hamstrings.
Yeah.
With using the bands, just kind of putting the leg straps on the ankles and then attaching it to one spot, and then just as being stable, standing up straight, and kicking your leg back slowly to squeeze that hamstring. It was really effective and useful as I was gone. And again, normally we will use bands for off days because they don't cause a lot of damage to the muscle. And I actually had to do a twist and break out of my routine of using the bands for off days and make the bands the primary resistance in which I was exercising with. So the way that I did that was I would use a much heavier band. I would have to go way slower and focus on engaging the muscle.
Yeah.
You have to give muscle reason to be there in the first place. If you want to have strong muscles or developed muscles, big muscles, you have to give the muscle a reason to be strong or to be big. And so if you're only going to be able to use resistance bands, and you need to make sure that stress is like a weight.
Right.
The stress is similar to what you would feel with weights. So the best way to do that is to have a heavy resistance and to go really slow and tense up your muscles, tense up your arms, your legs, whatever you're using, or whatever exercise you're doing for that specific body part, and perform those exercises really, really slow and tense.
Resistance bands can challenge your central nervous system in just a completely different way. I know that's a given. Obviously, they're not weights. Obviously, they're going to challenge your central nervous system, but it really is different.
It's absolutely different. A weight is going to be the same resistance from the bottom to the top. It's going to be the same weight. But the really cool thing about bands is that it pulls more and more as you stretch that band, so it almost feels like you're fighting with something.
Right.
In that sense, resistance bands can sometimes be better than weights, especially for explosive movements, because you're fighting more and more with something as it gets to that stretched position.
And you're fighting with yourself too.
Yeah. You have to hold your body up as that band is pulling you down. So you do have to engage your central nervous system, sometimes more so than with weights.
Right.
But the moral of the story is, or at least the moral of what I'm trying to communicate is that when you only have resistance bands, sometimes you do need to use them in that different way so that you can get that response. If the goal is building strength, or the goal is tensing up your body, or the goal is building size, then use what you have. Because I could have just as easily brought 2 10-pound weights, and maybe that was all I had to work with, and then I had to say, okay, if that's the case, well then let me make sure that I go really, really slow and tense up with these 10-pound weights, or let's go ahead and do bicep curls in a different angle that I'm not strong in, and build strength in that range of motion. Let me do this at a different angle that I'm not used to. Let me focus more on mobility. Like if you are trying to just keep consistent, then you use what you have in order to meet that goal.
Yes.
And look, here's the deal. We totally understand that a lot of you don't have a lot to work with.
Yeah.
And this is why we're such advocates of resistance bands, because you can do so many things with them.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned before, body elastics are the bands that we like to use. And so if you're in that spot where you're like, I can't afford a gym membership, or there's too many, it's too far to go to a gym, or I can't afford a personal trainer, or things like that.
Or even if you're intimidated from going to the gym or by going to the gym.
Yeah. That's totally a reason why someone wouldn't want to go to the gym. We just met someone actually who didn't want to go to the gym because of all of the people there.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to take that step and want to stay home and don't want all this crazy equipment, resistance bands is a great option to just take that first step.
Definitely.
We use the body elastics, and those are on Amazon for like $30. $30. One gym membership month is all that you would need in order to get equipment that would really help you see results.
I mean, we obviously encourage progression, right? Like we definitely wouldn't say to stay on resistance bands forever, but it's a start. It's a step.
Yes, and ultimately, we want to encourage you to build some sort of consistency.
Yes.
Because that is the key. That is king. Consistency. Say that 10 times fast and see if you mess up. Because you have to develop some sort of consistency in order to see some sort of result.
Yes.
And so if you're at the step where it's like I'm doing absolutely nothing, then maybe just taking a walk is the first step for you, consistently doing that.
Yeah.
And then maybe ordering the resistance bands and consistently doing that. And the really cool thing is that when you start one step of consistency, it leads to the next.
Absolutely.
Once you start using resistance bands, you're going to find like, oh wow, I'm building a really cool connection with my body, and I can build strength, I can do all these things. Maybe the next step for me is to go to the gym.
Your body will naturally want to transition.
Yeah, especially too if you're seeing your body change. That does bring a lot of confidence to you, and so that might be exactly what you need in order to feel confident to go into a bigger group of people to start seeing that next step of results. Resistance bands, as much as you can do with them, they're not going to do what weights can do. They're not going to do what barbells can do or what machines can do, and all these different tools have different uses. But again, if you're at that first step, then just take that step. Don't be afraid to. I made the decision to put those bands in my bag because I knew it was at least going to help me have some sort of consistency while I was away. And I knew that I was going to suffer during that week, no matter what, because I had been building consistency in lifting weights and running.
Yeah, putting the bands in the bag is only half the battle. You got to take them out and actually use them, right?
Yes, I had to actually take them out, and I would have been far worse off if I didn't put those bands in my bag.
Yeah.
And my progress would have suffered. Is in the grand scheme of things, was it horrible? Could I have taken a week off and been fine? Absolutely. Because I built that consistency and I built those habits, and my body has reaped the benefits of that consistency. I've been doing this for years. So that's something that we have to address too. Like if you are trying to build consistency, you can't expect to do something 1 week and then take a week off and do it 1 week and take a week off and then expect to see results. Consistency is consistency.
And what falls right in line with consistency is allowing your body to be able to adapt. Our bodies are super adaptable if we allow them to be.
Your body will not adapt to something that you're just doing, every once in a while.
Right. It's not going to know, because there's no consistency. It's not going to know what to adapt to.
Yeah, and we don't want to sound mean.
Yeah.
We don't want to sound insensitive, because again, if once a week going to the gym is all you can do, then do that.
But
just
you're
start
doing
somewhere.
It consistently once a week.
Yeah, or maybe like I'm just talking about like if someone can only go, let's say once a month, that is the bare minimum kind of consistency that you could have. But if that is the only thing you can do, we don't want you to think, oh, I can only go once a month, so what's the point of even going? Like, don't have that attitude.
No.
Do what you absolutely can. And then from there, just try to build upon that.
But the adaptability is right there in that consistency. If you can only go once a month, if you're going once a month on the dot, your body will know to adapt to that once a month because you've been doing it. You've been training it to do it, do that.
Yes, and going to the gym once a month is going to give you better results than not going to the gym at all.
Or whatever it is for you, hiking, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. Going hiking once a month or whatever you're going to do. And is that going to give you as much results as going every week? No. Is that going to give you as much results as going 3 times a week? No, but those are the baby steps you have to look. That's the path that you have to take in order to get to a consistent kind of program and a consistent routine of what's going to help you get to where you want to go.
Right.
Yeah, if your goal is to be at a low body fat percentage and have a good sufficient amount of strength and to see your abdominals and to get these big muscles or to look this certain way and be cut and lean and all those things, well, then maybe that once a month hike isn't going to do it. Mm-hmm. But if that's all you can do right now, then know what the journey is ahead of you. That is the whole, message behind ACT Fitness. It's the aspire, conquer, transform. You aspire towards a goal or an image or who you want to be. You aspire towards something, and you see the path there. You see what obstacles are in your way, and you work towards conquering those obstacles and conquering that goal. And then afterwards, you're transformed by it. You're transformed into who you are meant to be and who you become after accomplishing that goal.
And those words are ever growing, ever growing.
Yeah,
it doesn't stop.
This is something that's a cycle. You do it again and again. Once you become that new you, that new person that's accomplished that goal, now you've got new goals. Now you've got a new body.
You should constantly be growing and learning. There should never be, you shouldn't be consistent in staying in one place forever.
You should not be consistent in being inconsistent.
Yeah.
And so let's break it down for you, okay? So let's say you are completely not going to the gym, not caring about your health, you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do, period. What is the Aspire, Conquer, Transform path for you? Well, I think the first step is just now to be intentional about being active, right?
Yeah.
Being intentional. Is that a month? Is that a week? Is that every day?
Yeah, I would say aspire to start caring about your health.
Yeah. No, that's the first step. You have to care. You have to have a purpose behind being active. Mm-hmm. So that's the first step. So finding activities where you can start to move and burn calories and help yourself to become more healthy and active. So for some people it's hiking, for some people it's swimming, for some people it's walking, for some people it is doing a sport, finding a sport that they love, or is golfing a sport? I guess golfing is a sport. Yeah, going golfing.
Yeah.
But that would be the first step, is just being generally more active as much as you can. And then the next step would be to, I would say, start to work on the body itself. Mm-hmm. Instead of just being active with the body, you work on the body itself. So now getting into resistance training.
Right.
Where you can do resistance training through joining a gym, or you can do it through having resistance bands. Mm-hmm. So the bare minimum would be getting some resistance bands or doing some body weight exercises with your body at home or in a group class or something like that, but just now being intentional about working your body.
Yeah.
The next step, I would say, is making sure that you put yourself through a program.
Yeah.
It's a good step to start working on the body, but from there you want to build upon what you've been working on,
right,
and program yourself to become either stronger or to look better or to have better mobility, better performance. And a program really helps you to do that, because a program will build upon itself. It will take you through phases. It will take you through different rep ranges, different exercises. It's going to help with that
consistency.
Yes, it will help with the consistency. And don't mistake consistency with doing the same thing over and over again, expecting some sort of different result.
That is insanity.
That is insanity. Just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different... This is why we said you have to build upon your consistency. You have to build. And this is also why we do phasing in our programs with our clients. Like, we don't just do the exact same thing over and over again. Sometimes clients have to do the same exercises, but even then we can change the rep range. We can change the range of motion.
The weight,
yes, we can raise the weight or lower the weight. Like, there's different things that you can do with the exact same exercise. And very often we will change the exercises. We'll move from barbells to dumbbells. We'll move from both sides of the body being worked all at once to unilateral training. So you have to be able to know what all the factors are and play with those factors a little bit in order for you to see overall progress. So that would be the next step, is to now put yourself in a program that does that uses all those factors to help you overall progress in your goals.
Yes.
And then I think the next step would be to just continue down that path. And decide, okay, now that I know that there's ways to program, let me decide to have a new goal of programming for strength. Or let me now have a new program for mobility or for performing well in this athletic endeavor.
I definitely want to emphasize that these things can be led in the wrong direction very quickly. You constantly have to check yourself. You constantly have to make sure that your intentions are good in doing this, because it's very easy to say, well, once I hit this weight, then I'm going to be good. Or once I hit this body fat, then I'm going to be good. Once I do this, then it's going to happen. And just like in life in general, you know that that's not true. We know that it's not once we gain this one thing, we're suddenly going to be very, very happy. And fitness is the same way. And I would say it could be even more dangerous, because you're messing with your physical health and your psyche. And so, just constantly checking yourself through that process. Your psyche.
And we just recently had a podcast with Sal DiStefano of Mind Pump. We talked with him, and I love what he said during that interview, during that talk, that you have to fall in love with the journey. You have to fall in love with the journey of health, because you're going to want to maintain and grow in your health in as many ways as possible. All the way until you die. Health is going to be an issue for the rest of your life, whether you like it or not. And so don't just think that once I hit this weight, I'm done. Like, that's not true. That's not how this works. You have to fall in love with the journey of getting to that weight, because what's going to happen next? You're going to be on another path and another journey, and you're going to have to be able to stay motivated through that. And find a new path, find a new journey. You fall in love with finding new goals for yourself and new things to progress in. We've done Spartan race. Let me first say, I've gotten myself down to 10% body fat and a lean body, but I wasn't necessarily able to perform as best as I could in that low body fat percentage. I wasn't running my fastest mile times. And when I was starting to train for a Spartan race, I actually was heavier and had a higher body fat percentage, but I was running the fastest I ever have, and I was having the most amount of endurance that I've ever had, because my training was different. I was focused on something else, where appearance was completely arbitrary. So you have to find out, what are the goals that you want to focus on? What is the journey to get there? And don't just say, once I have this, I'm done. Again, that is a way for you to break your consistency. And what you'll find is, once you hit that goal and you say, all right, I'm done, I've hit it, I'm good, you're going to start finding your consistency will come down. You're going to see old habits start to come back up, and you're going to end up back at where you were before you reached that goal, with being in a higher body fat percentage, higher weight, whatever you were before that goal, because you're going to think that just getting there was the goal. No. It was the journey. It was the consistency that you built in getting there. That was really what was helping you to get there. If that makes sense.
Totally.
So find consistency wherever that is for you. Build upon that to be more and more consistent. Don't make excuses for yourself. Do your best to challenge yourself. And if you need help and guidance, we are here to help you. Okay, visit our Instagram, visit our website, ACT Fitness Academy and actfitnessacademy.com. Ask us questions, check out our free resources, check out our training tips. Like, we do our best to provide as much information as possible. Look at our past podcast episodes so you can gain as much information as possible to help you with what to do when you're going into the gym, or what to do with certain exercises or your nutrition.
Take advantage of those resources, yo.
Take advantage of all the resources that you can get, because ultimately the more knowledgeable you are on how to reach your goal, the more likely you will reach it. But we want to encourage you too. Don't just gather up all this knowledge and not do anything with it. We want to encourage you to act.
Yes.
So if you liked this episode, if you enjoyed it, then be sure to give us a 5-star rating and review. Share it with someone you think needs to hear this. And be sure to subscribe so that you're informed on when we have brand new episodes for you. And until then, you guys take care.
Stay healthy.